Welcome back, and we're continuing our conversation with David Cheek, United States Navy diver. Back here with David, and talking. It's great during the breaks here. We talk about subject matter goes to horseshoeing and stuff, which is great because it's a horseshoe. It's a blacksmith, but
no, it's a farrier.
A farrier. That's the word I was looking for. So yeah, and even now, he still, shoes horses and oversees young apprentice horseshoers and teaches them the trade. So kind of a neat thing there, just a sidelight there. So you went to Vietnam 18 months. You saw what was going on there. And coming back to America during that time period, everybody's heard the stories, okay. The Vietnam veterans came back. Of course, America was very divided. There was a bitterness out there. The servicemen coming back during that time period. The heartache for a lot of that, because a lot of those young men were drafted. They didn't have a choice. They went to, the country asked them to serve, and they went. And then there was those that also volunteered. But when you came back and your communities did not embrace you. A lot of people went to small towns. I can't see Bakersfield and those areas and stuff, not embracing veterans back. But let's just face it, there's San Francisco. There's all these cities and towns where you were considered, and I'm going to just be blunt here and stuff, it was the whole baby killer mentality, and there was an ugliness in the nation. And the politicians, and I'm on my soapbox here, and I'll let you take over, but the politicians really let the servicemen down, I feel. And, and I think this nation let them down. But from your perspective, just let it go. You're a guy that's worked with those guys that came back, trying to help them cope. And what's your take on that time period? Where do you stand?
No, that time period, I was still in uniform. I come from Vietnam, where a bunch of us MCV3, and a few of the Marines went up to the 3rd Naval District Brig, which is on the East Coast. Mm-hmm. I went there to help. My job was decommissioning the Brooklyn Naval Shipyard.
Okay.
We weren't treated in New York as bad as whatever, because you've seen sailors, all the soldiers from Fort Dix, they'd come up on the weekends.
Right.
They stuck me in Armed Forces Police for a while.
Okay.
You run around New York City, Harlem, and all that. And you got a loaded 45.
Right.
And because they treated you like regular cops,
right.
the civilian hoods back there. But I got out of that outfit. I ended up getting beat up bad.
Oh, no.
By myself.
Yeah. I'm sorry. But you served and you ended up getting out in 76, and you said you did some reserve naval.
Yeah, the Navy Fleet Reserves.
Navy Flight Reserves.
I don't even know if they had that anymore.
I don't think they do.
That system, because I got to retire in 17.6.
Mm-hmm. So when you got out, there was the you were going to go back to doing something. Well, of course, you were shoeing horses, things like that. Is that after you got out of the Navy, even though you're doing reserve stuff?
No, I was doing it because you only got to serve 2 weeks a year.
Right. So.
And I did that right down at Los Alamitos.
Yeah.
Naval Station.
Was that just the 2 weeks where you just show up and you weren't doing any diving or anything like that?
No, because that's an air station.
Yeah, right. So you were just showing up. You were just Naval Fleet Reserve guy. So you got out of the Navy, and then you went into the civilian world, and you did what? What was your job? What did you go when you got out?
I was self-employed horseshoer.
That's what your job was. Okay, I got you. And you said you were talking about you worked at Santa Anita and the horse tracks, and you got to know all the big names and things like that. But as you were going along now, you say you suffer from PTSD. from that time period. Now, was that a carryover from Vietnam? Was that a carryover from just
All
the
over.
military service? All over?
All, according to psychologists, it's a buildup of all the everything.
Yeah. So it's just a combination of everything over your time period there and dealing with things. Like I said, I'm sure you saw some horrific things during that time period, and we're not going to get into that at all, but that stuff all adds up over a period of time. And then you know outreach and trying to help veterans too, you know, and then they're sharing their stories with you, and that can even add to it sometimes because you're dealing with other men's problems,
Yeah,
right?
there's a lot of veterans in this building. There's a couple of them here that are in pretty rough shape, and I don't know why they turn around and turn them loose like that. Okay, they could pay the rent, but the thing is, they'd be better off over here in the old soldier, the veterans home.
Yeah.
Because they could be supervised.
And that's the problem we face in society today and stuff. How do we deal with those people? And you're right. That's why we have the veterans homes in Barstow and Lancaster and down below, because they can get that constant care that they really need. When we come back, I'm going to take another break here, and when we come back, we'll talk about the inadequacies of the VA system a little bit. Okay, so we'll be right back here with David. Thank you for tuning in to this segment of AV Veterans Talk here at Aerotech News.